Color analysis is a huge topic and one that lends itself to a lot of misinformation and confusion. In fact, I am not trained in color analysis myself. In fact, I went to a professional recently to help me sort out what my best colors are. And I knew that sharing that story would be helpful to a lot of people, but I also knew that this was going to bring up a lot of questions for a lot of you. Because of that, I tried to anticipate your questions as much as possible, and I filmed a little Q&A video with Melany Carlos from House of Color Arlington, who did my colors, and who very graciously gifted us with her time and her expertise all about color analysis. Melany's story is fascinating. She is an excellent teacher, and I could tell that she has a very kind heart. If you're in the DC area, I highly recommend that you go get your colors done with her, but if not, at the very least, follow her on Instagram because there is a ton to learn from her. When I filmed this video with Melany, I didn't have all of my usual tools with me, like my microphones, but I am going to make absolutely sure that the closed captions in this video are on point so that you don't miss any of the conversation. If you don't know where to turn them on, there's a button right here that you can click to turn on all of our subtitles. And for now, let's get to a Q&A with color consultant from House of Color, Melany Carlos. Tell me a little bit about your journey with House of Color. Like, how did you discover it?
So after I had my 2 kids, I put on a little bit of weight with my pregnancy and I didn't lose any of it afterwards, and I was kind of feeling a little bit in a rut and blah. And I talked to my mom quite a bit about it, and she happened upon this woman at one of her networking events that talked about color and style, and she just thought she knew I was feeling a bit down, and she thought that this might be something fun for us to do together when I was visiting her. I was particularly excited for the style part of it because I was also a lot rounder than I had been, and I didn't know how to dress 35-year-old me. You know, I remember dressing 20-year-old me, and I just clueless about 35-year-old me. So I had no idea what color analysis was, but I was game to go along and have a look. And I just remember being blown away, sitting down there and watching as she took the drapes off of me and watching my skin change different colors. Just by what color was sitting underneath my chin, and I just remember sitting there amazed at what was happening to me and not expecting that. And I was working as a dental hygienist back then, and I couldn't wear my style to work, obviously, because I had to wear scrubs.
Right.
But I bought my scrubs in my right colors, and I got compliments from day one. And every day I got compliment after compliment from my patients. Saying that I looked slimmer, did I go on vacation, all this sort of thing. I had one naughty old lady ask me if I was having an affair because I looked so great.
Really?
She was like, you must be having an affair.
Because that's the only reason why you would feel that.
I think she was just teasing me. But I saw that it really worked, and I thought, you know what, I've been thinking about this, it works, and I just jumped in head first and decided to do it for myself, and I get to make women feel gorgeous about themselves every single day, so it's awesome.
There's a lot of color analysis companies out there, and especially now after COVID, a lot of them are doing it online. But something that you and I talked about when we first met through Instagram actually was, no, it has to be done in person.
Yes, when COVID hit and a lot of these companies did decide to go online, we just know at House of Color that doing color analysis online does not work well. First of all, everybody's screens represents color a little bit differently. When you order something online from a store, it looks one way, and when it turns up at your door, it's an entirely different color sometimes. And it's everybody's screen's different. We don't have the drapes in front of us for us to see how color is interacting with your skin in natural light, which is what we need to see the process. So we made a decision, knowing that it's not great quality to do it online, to continue to do it in person, and in person only, no matter what.
And that's how you keep the standard
Absolutely.
at the highest quality.
Absolutely.
So once somebody gets a color analysis done, does that change as they age, as their hair grays, or?
So your season of colors has to do with your undertones, and that is your genetics, and that lasts forever. However, the colors within your season, because you can wear 25% of the world's colors, the colors that look absolutely lovely on you head to toe, that can change over time with them. If you get a tan, for instance, a lot of my lighter, brighter pinks I don't love in the wintertime when I'm a little bit pale, so I will use them as accessory colors. However, when I get a great tan in the summertime, I'll wear it as a t-shirt and that sort of thing because I feel more comfortable when I have a tan in those colors. So So absolutely, hair color, getting a bit of a tan can change the way that colors within your season look on you.
That's great, because what I'm hearing you say is that even though you have an idea of what your best colors are and you know your season, you're not limited to one specific color palette year round.
Absolutely.
Your color palette can change.
Absolutely. Yeah, the colors that you choose to wear within your season will change. But as a winter, as long as I can describe a color as cool and bright and vivid or icy, I know it's going to look phenomenal on me. So whether I choose to wear black this year or my navy blue or, an indigo, they're all going to look fantastic.
Great to know.
Yeah.
So you don't get bored. You have plenty of options.
Absolutely. You've got 25% of the world's colors, and there are billions of colors out there. So it's, however you choose to put them together. And colors look differently when you combine them with other colors
Definitely.
too. So you can create a way.
So why do you think something like color analysis should be done by a professional and not something that you can do yourself at home?
So first of all, we do have these drapes, which is how we tell. And these drapes have been precision dyed for the process, so they really help us determine and get us to be able to see the color changes on your face as we go through. If you are trying to do it online with hair color or eye color, it is not as accurate because you cannot see what's happening to your skin tone. There are people with very autumny colored hazel eyes that I have seen be a summer or an autumn, and if I had just gone by her eye color, I would have called her an autumn, but she might not be. Warmer base colors may turn her skin just slightly yellow, and the cooler tones make her look healthy and bright, and that's what we want every day, is to look healthy and bright. So that's the reason why we don't just go with hair color or eye color.
And it's so interesting that you're saying that, because a lot of quizzes online have you start with what's your coloring, what are your eyes, and I've been misdiagnosed as an autumn, and just now we discovered that I'm a winter, which is just completely different undertone.
Completely, yeah. So for that reason, that is why we always just let the drapes do the talking. I never try and guess what somebody is when they come in. Of course, when I had first trained, I couldn't help but try and think, oh, is she this or is she that? But over time, I don't even do that anymore. I just wait until they sit down and we have a look at the draping process and see what's happening to the skin tone.
It's fascinating what you're saying, because I think a lot of people have this idea that color analysis is very subjective, but what you're describing is precision.
Right.
It's not at all
science-based, yeah.
Science-based.
Science-based. And it is work based on the color theory as depicted by Johann Itten at the Bauhaus school in Germany. And we work through his system. We know it works. And those colors harmonize together, and your skin should harmonize with your colors as well.
Do you know how old the system is?
So he worked at the Bauhaus school in the early 40s. That school closed when the Nazis came through, but a lot of them ended up in the United States, actually, which is why we have a big Bauhaus influence here in the States in all of our arts and design and architecture.
Right.
It's still quite big, and Hollywood uses it a whole lot as well, the color analysis process, for when they're figuring out movie scripts and that sort of thing. If they want a woman to look sad and depressed and like she's got 7 children and is overworked, and they'll put her in her worst colors and she'll naturally look that way. And then they do it a lot in Breaking Bad. Do you remember that movie? Walt in the beginning was always dressed in browns and yellows and stuff when he was really sick. And then as he got better and the movie went on, they started to put him into his blues and blacks because he's a winter too, and he looked healthier and stronger. So Hollywood uses this a whole lot to help create the feeling and the look of actors.
So I want to know a little bit more about you. Like, what has been your journey after going through the House of Color system, and how has that influenced your personal style?
Well, actually, it was an extraordinary life changer for me. As I said, I worked in the dental field for forever, since early 20s, and I was either in dental school of some sort or working in dental office. I wore scrubs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was home, I would just put on yoga pants and t-shirts. And then when I started to stay home more, when I had my kids, I was 35, and suddenly I just did not know what 35-year-old me wears on a day-to-day basis. I thought to myself, it's got to be more than yoga pants and t-shirts, But I had this new rounder figure. I didn't know how to dress it. I tried to hide everything. And what I love about House of Color is they're teaching you how to put attention to the things about yourself that you love and stop trying to hide the stuff that you don't love. You know, so it was a huge mind change for me.
Right.
So learning to stop trying to hide my thighs and my hips and all that, and bring attention to my face and parts of my body that I do enjoy. I have a small waist, which I never showed in my big t-shirts and things like that. So getting out of hiding and being me and honoring who I am, honoring the right colors on me, honoring my shape instead of trying to hide it, learning to love myself was huge, instead of trying to hide everything all the time. So confidence levels shot up. When I feel that when you feel good about yourself, you give more of yourself to the world. Before, I felt like I was hiding so much that I just didn't give everything that I had to give to people. So I feel like I'm a better mom, I'm a better wife, I'm kinder to myself than I ever have been. Because I think when you look good, you feel good, and you take that energy out into the world with you. And I want to share that with as many people as I can.
I see it.
Yeah.
And something interesting that you said while you were doing my analysis was allowing yourself to show up in your best way, and like allowing yourself to be the center of attention, when sometimes as women we have been told not to, or that we, for protection, have made ourselves look less noticeable
And
or
disappear. Yeah.
Not
Hide from the world. Yeah, and I think being confident in who you are, you may get attention now, but it's a lot more positive attention than I got before, that I was trying to hide from.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're more sure of yourself, I think you get less of the unwanted negative attention, because you look and feel more powerful. So people treat you that way too.
That's great.
You look like you respect yourself, and they in turn respect you as well.
I get a lot of questions of people asking me, like, when I'm shopping, whether online or in person, how can I tell if I haven't gotten a color analysis done, if a color is working for me or not? Do you have any tips and tricks?
So first of all, how do you feel in that color? Too. Very often we'll put on a color and we're like, ugh, no, I don't like that on me. And that's often a good tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we're going through the color analysis, what we talk about is the color True Red is the only color that is neither influenced by warm or cool. It sits right in the middle of our color wheel, and is the only color that looks absolutely beautiful on everybody and works in every season. So a good True Red is always a good go-to, and red is a powerful, positive color. Mm-hmm. So people are often afraid of red. I was terrified to wear red before, but it's a good color for all of us, True Red. Other than that, I would really recommend getting a color analysis, because it's really hard to tell, especially in the store or online, if a color is even warm or cool, or what it's doing to your skin if you're not in natural light.
For sure.
So it should be done in person, in natural light, and with you sitting in the chair and seeing what color does to your skin, you never unsee it, right? So forever you will have that knowledge with you and can take it and apply it for your entire life. It makes getting dressed so easy, because if everything you own is in your colors and looks amazing on you, it is very difficult for you to not look great every day without even trying. So how lovely is that, to go into your closet and anything you pull out looks amazing on you?
It's every person's dream.
Right.
Yeah.
So takes all of the decision out of it. All of your colors will mix and match seamlessly together, so you can have far less clothes and way more outfits, because every top should go with every pair of pants, with every skirt. And then you can add your accessories, your shoes, and change up those outfits however you feel for the day. But just being able to go into my closet and pick anything and it works simplifies life dramatically.
Definitely, and this is something that I am even now considering how it's going to impact my own wardrobe, because I dress from a capsule, very minimalist capsule wardrobe every season, and yet I see things already that are not quite matching, because I do gravitate to some brighter, fun colors, just as a matter of taste. But knowing this, I see how this is going to change those pieces, so that as they phase out, I can bring in new pieces that can actually mix and match
regardless of the season, so that it's way more cohesive than it has been in the past.
Absolutely.
What happens if you do get a color analysis done, like you're saying, and then you realize that you don't like your colors, or the color palette that is given to you is not something that you love?
So there are some people that come through here that have no idea that they are going to end up, let's say, in autumn, and then they end up there, and it can be a shock. I was shocked at my colors. I was really happy at being in winter because I was glad that I got to keep black. But I wasn't excited about wearing a bunch of bright colors, and I certainly wasn't excited about putting bright lipstick on my face.
I'm feeling a little bit like that.
So it took me a little bit of time, but now I'm absolutely happy wearing fuchsia, where I wasn't 3 years ago wearing fuchsia. So it takes some time if you're not that thrilled about your colors. My mom was very unhappy about being in autumn, but she's now 5 years later very happily living her life as an autumn, but it did take some time to get there. You will often find that you have some colors in your season that you do love or that you are accepting of, and you can start there and then gradually add in some of those colors that you weren't so excited about initially. And I guarantee you that once you start getting all of your compliments too, you start to feel more and more comfortable in those colors and less like they're foreigners to you and more like they are your friends. So, but it does take people a bit of time, and I don't ever ask anybody to break up with their black if black is not their color. That is something that people will generally do on their own over time, and none of this has to happen overnight, right? We give you a lot of tools of ways to help you make some things in your wardrobe work if they don't right now, until you can phase them out. Because the last thing that we want to do is have everybody go and throw away everything that they have and start over. It's a waste of money, it's a waste of good clothes, and we don't want all of those clothing ending up in the third world anywhere where all of our clothing ends up.
Yeah.
So we are trying to do this as responsibly as we can and teach you how to make stuff work until you can phase it out and build your wardrobe. But you will see that being able to mix and match everything in your closet just saves you so much time and energy and money. So it is worth getting into as you go.
And so for somebody who is in that transition of phasing in their seasonal colors and phasing out the other stuff, what's a good way to start incorporating that when their current wardrobe is completely separate from what their ideal should be?
So what we recommend is, first thing that when you get home after a color analysis is to separate your closet into two sections. Clothes that you know meet the criteria and are in your color scheme, and those that are not. On that side, if there are clothes that you haven't worn in over a year or don't particularly like, and we've all got those because studies show that we wear about 15% of our clothing 85% of the time, and then we have this huge part that just sits there for some reason. And we've all got those pieces that we've bought, and every time we try them on, we're like, not today, and it goes back into our closet and sits there sometimes with tags on forever. So if you have some of those pieces sitting in there, that can go to Goodwill or wherever secondhand store.
Melany's giving you permission. Yeah.
And then you can start adding. So once you've got to that point, what do you need? Do you need a couple of pants? We start with our the basic pieces: your coats, your pants, your shoes, and handbags. And getting those in your neutral colors, whatever your season is, and every season has some really, really beautiful neutrals, is going to get you your biggest bang for your buck and start you on that journey, because your neutrals should go with absolutely everything in your closet. Mm-hmm. So starting there and then working in some color as you start to build that wardrobe is the way to go.
Starting with the neutrals and the accessories and working at.
Yeah.
And also something that you showed me is you have a ton of shoes in really fun colors.
I do. I was absolutely terrified of the bright winter colors when I had my color analysis, and I was so happy that I got to keep my black, obviously. And I thought, fine, I'll start wearing some color, but it's going on my feet. So as far away from my face as I could possibly get it. But now I'm absolutely happy to wear those colors right next to my face. But it was a journey. And I've had my colors done about 5 years ago. So yeah, it was an uncomfortable start, but I could see the benefits. So I continued with it.
I'm wondering if you're comfortable showing the example of the icy green or the acid
yellow shoes.
Yeah, because they are a fabulous color, and it's a color that you would think that's a difficult color to match, but when
Absolutely.
you showed me,
But my acid yellow goes with absolutely all of the colors in my season. I could even wear it with a fuchsia dress. This is a color that's in my season. This is the acid yellow that I would never choose to wear head to toe. But it's an absolutely fabulous accessory color for my closet. It makes my wardrobe a lot more interesting and adds that little bit of wow factor to my clothes. But it is a color that I thought when I initially had my colors done that I would never ever wear. However, I absolutely love these shoes. I have a handbag in acid yellow now too, and they're a fabulous addition to my wardrobe.
and it works with every single color, even
Absolutely,
if you, yeah,
every single color in my spectrum.
which is crazy because a lot of the times we think that unless it matches and it's in the same color family or something like that, that it won't go. But you take all of the guesswork out.
Correct. It's just, it goes with my colors. It doesn't have to match any of the colors.
Where can you find items that fit your colors year round? How do you shop for these things?
So I can't guarantee that you're going to find all of your colors all year round, right?
Yeah.
Very often, for example, now the autumn colors are in.
Yeah.
But that also saves me a lot of money because I'm not buying just because my colors are in season. I'm not just buying stuff all year round because it's my colors. I go in with a filter when I'm shopping now. And it's got to be the right color and it's got to be the right style for me before I'll purchase it. So shopping for me is actually a lot easier now because I'll go into a store, have a look around. I'm like, I'm not even trying on in here because there's nothing for me. There are a couple of companies that do sell by the season. There's actually a company from England called Kettlewell.
Yes.
And they do specifically create clothing in the different seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a go-to place for me if I am looking for a particular color that is nowhere in the stores right now. And they've got a lot of lovely basics in good colors and good quality. And then when my colors are in the store, I just go mad and have fun with it. Black and white is always in for me, but sometimes some of those brighter colors are harder to find. And I just wait until I find the perfect piece because I'm only adding those items to my wardrobe that make me feel absolutely fabulous. Because if you only buy those pieces every single time you get dressed, you feel amazing.
So what I'm hearing is patience. Like really
Absolutely.
having the control of not buying something just because you're looking for some retail therapy. Or...
Yeah, and how much money have we wasted over the years doing that? Buying those random things just because. And then they sit in your closet. So it is becoming more focused and really honing in what compliments you and only buying those things because you will actually wear them over and over and over and you get great bang for your buck that way when you're shopping.
Do you find that your shopping habits have changed since knowing your colors?
Absolutely. I do a lot more shopping online, even though that seems weird because of the whole color thing. Not being able to tell the right colors online, but what I love is having a whole lot of clothing delivered to my house and then I have my wardrobe to introduce it to, and if it's not quite working with the other colors in my wardrobe, that's another way I can tell that it's actually not quite my color.
Yeah.
Because there are some colors that are shared between seasons. Burgundy, for instance, is shared between summers and winters, and if I get a burgundy that's too soft, it'll look faded compared to the rest of my clothing, and I'll know that immediately by putting it with items in my clothing in my closet that I already have. And it also helps me decide if I'm going to spend $250 on a skirt. That skirt better go with at least 9-10 of my tops before I'll drop that money on just one skirt.
Right.
So it really helps me weed out those pieces that are actually going to contribute to my wardrobe instead of just sit there and take up space.
And you mentioned something during the analysis about finding a top that was $250 that wasn't in one of your wow colors, but that it had other elements, and that you used all of the different tools that you have from House of Color to try to figure out if that piece is worth the investment.
Right.
When it is in your season, but maybe it's not the best color, or maybe it's not the
Right.
best features.
So during your color analysis, what we'll also do is not only get you to your season, but figure out the colors within that season that are extraordinary. Every single color, that's 25% of the world colors, are going to look 100% better on you than any other season's colors will.
Yeah.
But there are some colors within your season that will be extraordinary, and that's lovely to know if you're buying an expensive coat or going to a wedding and choosing a gown, that sort of thing. But we don't wear one color at a time, head to toe very often. We're often in separates, and our colors actually look better together. So even though we go through and rate them one at a time, what you'll find in the real world is when you put some other colors with your colors that you're not so super excited about, it actually improves the look of all of those colors together, because our colors do look fabulous together.
Yeah, they complement each other.
Absolutely.
For sure. I mean, I could ask you questions for hours. I'm trying to think, is there anything that I didn't touch on that you think should be mentioned?
I think just trying to get the point across that this is not limiting. People will often say to me, well, I don't want to know my season's colors because then I'm limited to only those. If we have a look in people's closets, they often limit themselves to black and grey and white, or brown and cream. They're already doing that for themselves. What we're actually showing you is that you can wear this huge spectrum of colors and wear them beautifully. So I feel that it is actually eye-opening and giving women permission to wear color instead of trying to take away a whole lot of colors from them. So, yeah.
I definitely see the impact as we get older, and allowing yourself to wear color and remaining visible in some way,
Absolutely.
even as other things start to fade.
Yeah, we do tend to fade as women, and bring that color back to our faces is important.
And we have to wear our lipstick.
Yes. Your lipstick is your power tool.
Yeah, well, we'll see. In 2 weeks, I'll tell you. And I'll be like, okay, here's where I am on the everyday lipstick journey.
Yeah, try it out. It's worth it.
I could have talked to Melany for hours, but I really wanted to be respectful of her time. I sincerely hope that you found this conversation as helpful as I did. And if you still have some questions about color analysis, I really want to encourage you to leave them in the comments below. I know that some of the people in my audience are trained in color analysis, and if you want to tell us how your system is similar or different than the House of Color system, please, I would love to hear from you. That's one of my favorite things about this community. As I've mentioned previously, knowing my best colors is bringing up a ton of changes to my wardrobe. And in fact, I have a video coming about that next week. So if you don't want to miss it, make sure that you're subscribed and that you ring that bell. And if you did like this video, it would mean so much to me if you give it a huge thumbs up. It actually helps my channel out a lot when you do that. And if you missed the video where I talked about my own color analysis experience and what the process was like, you have to watch it. It's one of my favorite videos that I've ever made. I'll leave it linked for you here, and I'll see you in the comments over there.